What up my nerds, I'm Riccardo the Roleplay Gamer, and I like to party. Today I just want to gush about a game, not a new game though, quite an old one indeed, Dragon's Dogma. So full credit to those of you who suggested I check out Dragon's Dogma in the Why They're No Good RPGs vlog a couple of weeks back. I do actually own it. I've owned it ever since it was re-released on PC. I was actually really interested in the game back in the original release on the consoles, but I didn't have that generation of consoles, so I could never play it. It killed me. It looked so good. It looked right up my alley. Then I think, you know, Dark Souls and Skyrim came out around the same time, and you know, it didn't do poorly as far as I'm aware. I did, you know, looked into it. I don't think it sold poorly. It just was never huge like Dark Souls or Skyrim. And interestingly enough, in my opinion at least, and I'd love to hear what you guys think of this in the comments below, in my opinion, it's kind of a mixture of the two. It's kind of the sexual erotic love child of Skyrim and Dark Souls, and also Monster Hunter a little bit, and I'll tell you why in a second. So for those of you who don't know what Dragon's Dogma is, just really quickly, it's an open world action RPG where you create your character and then you create your companion's character who follows you around for the whole game, and you can hire two other companions. They're called pawns. They're pretty basic, and they sort of serve as not only aid in combat, but they give you tips on quests and whatnot. They're almost the tutorial system. Is sort of built into the game, so you got to pay attention to what they're saying, which is really cool. You find really big monsters that you can actually climb on, like you grip on them. There's a button to grip onto them. You can slice bits off them, like the Chimera, you can slice off its tail, then you kill the goat head, and then you finish off the big lion after that. It's a little bit Dark Souls in that there's backtracking and you can open up shortcuts and whatnot. Plus the combat is quite difficult, though quite different to Dark Souls. It's more fast-paced and there's no lock-on. So in that sense, it feels almost like a mixture of Dark Souls and Monster Hunter in combat style, a little bit, but still I think more fast-paced than both of them. It's really cool. All this boyish excitement aside, I'm making this video for those of you who weren't aware of Dragon's Dogma or had tried it like me but just couldn't get into it. And I figure if you're a regular viewer of the channel, chances are you probably like the same type of RPGs that I like. So there's a very good chance that you will actually like Dragon's Dogma if you give it a proper chance. And I'm not saying, you know, just persevere through, you know, a game you don't enjoy, but I think there are a few things that the game could communicate better that it doesn't, and it stops people from enjoying it early game. Exploration seems big in Dragon's Dogma. You've got to look around in every building, in the towns, look around for areas that appear hidden, shortcuts and whatnot, because once you do that, you find stuff that seems really obvious, but it's like, oh shit, this is like a major part of the early game, and I completely missed it. Secondly, just play around and experiment. For example, the first few times I tried the game, there was one particular type of enemy that just stomped me every goddamn time. But this time, for whatever reason, I was just lucky, I guess, I decided to get a different pawn. I hired a pawn, one of those companions I mentioned, that has ice abilities that gives the party, you know, ice damage. And that was it. That was the key. This particular enemy that stomped me so hard all those times were vulnerable to ice, and I didn't know that. There are ways to figure it out, right? You know, but you got to explore to find that information. But I stumbled across it, and it made those particular fuckers really easy to kill, and suddenly it clicked, and I'm like, oh, it's that sort of game. Okay, I can enjoy it now. I can enjoy it. Anyway guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think of Dragon's Dogma, especially those of you who have actually beaten the game. I'd really love to hear your perspective of the game as a whole. No spoilers, please. And as always, we're going to finish off this vlog with a game from my past. You may have guessed, because I've already shown it in the video, Monster Hunter. This is actually the game that I got in the bargain bin along with Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2. And I liked this a hell of a lot more in the beginning, but then it sort of switched and I actually managed to beat Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2, but I've never been able to beat this. It's a little bit difficult. Monster Hunter is a game that's difficult to define. I guess it's an RPG, but there's no leveling and no stat increases or skills or anything like that. Instead, it's all about crafting equipment, which is... That's my thing, right? So essentially, you're in this little town, plagued by monsters all around. You know, it's the world that these people live in. It's a very monster-filled world. And we're talking like dragons and dinosaur-like things. And you're there as the monster hunter. You take up contracts. You start small at the beginning, and then it ramps up the difficulty, and eventually you're taking out like wyverns and whatnot, which are basically dragons with 2 legs. And one of the best parts of the game, in my opinion, is the fact that when you hack at a monster, when you kill it, you can actually loot some of its corpse and then make armor and weapons out of it. It's my type of game. It's my type of game. It's really difficult, at least for me, and I was never able to finish it, sadly, but it remains one of my all-time favorite games that I haven't played a lot of. But there you go, Monster Hunter, way back in the day. Oh, that's what we can call a segment. Back in the day. Oh, I've done it. Yes. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. Taste the game, be excellent to each other, and I'll see you next time. Roleplay Gamer, out.